And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop-Et Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. Finesse Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now, let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, sitting in for Dorothy Kilgallen, who's attending the coronation in England, the well-known screen and television star, Miss Laraine Day.
And on my left is the very charming and attractive Steve Allen.
Thank you. With our two regular girls in England, we've done a bit of Lend-Lease this week and imported a member of the English What's My Line panel, Miss Barbara Kelly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say how thrilled I am to be here, how nervous I am to be here, and how proud I am to meet a gentleman whose new book, Good for a Laugh, is just as popular in England as I'm sure it is here. Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Simply topping of you.
Oh, thank you.
Now, everybody here's seen Kelly. On my left is a man who's not only an ace newscaster and panel moderator, but he's just been named the Television Father of the Year. He goes farther and farther every day. So on my left is John Charles Papadion Daly.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stop-Et. As is our custom on Sunday nights, once again we have some nice people who've come to visit us, and they brought with them their occupations, which we trust will be sufficiently exacting to give our friends on the panel a rough time of it, so that our guests will have some prizes to take home. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program, but now to start things rolling, it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger, whose job they've got to spot, so will you sign in, please, ma'am? Betty Cope, is that right? First of all, will you tell us where you're from?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, got some moral support in the theater, and Miss Cope, I'm quite sure that you'll be able to cope with the panel, but they want to know you better, so would you please walk down in front of the panel for me?
Well, Dorothy's away, so I'd like to see your hands, ma'am.
I'm quite sure what she would say if she were here. Cut it out.
All right, Miss Cope, if you'll come over here now, please, and sit down next to me, you'll find that on the basis of this brief acquaintanceship that you've had with the panel, we give them one free guess as to what your line may be, and we always begin the free guesses with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen, but we have Miss Laraine Day with us tonight to start the free guess.
Well, I'll bet she's an Indian rooter.
An Indian rooter, possible. Mr. Allen.
She has a rather athletic look to me. I think she's a tennis player.
Miss Kelly.
I think she's an embroideress.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she works for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Miss Cope, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. But the panel has to dig. Miss Cope, I think you know the rules. Every time you can get a no answer from the panel, they lose $5. We keep a record of all that up here. 10 of these no's, and you have won the game. Miss Cope is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Thank you, John. Father.
Yes, Father.
Miss Cope, do you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes, sir.
Do you work indoors?
Yes?
Is there a product connected with what you do?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Day.
Do people come to you where you work to see you? At times, yes. At times. Do you wear any kind of a uniform? No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you deal with both men and women?
Yes?
Is there any paperwork involved in what you do? Clerical work of any kind? Do you use hand towels or anything?
Well, I think Miss Cope will agree that to the degree that she has responsibilities and there is an accounting to be made, she does indulge in some paperwork. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Is mathematics at all ever involved?
No.
No, I wouldn't say, not directly. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kelly.
Good evening, Miss Cope. Am I right in saying that you don't find your occupation very amusing?
Are you right in saying that...
No, you are
It's an
not.
old
No.
English
you just-
custom. I'm sorry. She doesn't find it amusing, does she?
That would be 4 down and
you
6
do.
to go. Yes. Mr. Cerf.
You do find it amusing.
Very much so.
Is it amusing because of the people that you meet or because of the nature of the work that you do?
I can't answer that with a yes or no.
can't.
Oh, Miss Cope, you should have come sooner. Congratulations. You don't need me tonight, kids.
Do you have to have any special training for the work that you do?
Yes.
Do you have any appellation before your name, like doctor or something of that sort?
No.
No, I don't think so. 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Day.
Whatever you do you do it alone? No.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Allen.
When you say you do not do it alone, do you mean someone helps you to do it?
Yes.
There is a cooperative effort by several people sometimes necessary.
My goodness. Do you work in an office?
At times.
When you're not in the office, are you still indoors?
Yes.
There is nothing athletic then in your work, is there?
No.
There is nothing athletic, no, yes.
Are you paid less than $100 a week?
No.
That's 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Kelly. Look out, Mr. Allen may propose right after.
Answer all these.
Even I may. Miss Cope, does your appearance have anything at all to do with your work?
No.
That makes it 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Cope, have you anything whatever to do with the world of entertainment?
Yes.
Do you appear before the public in some way?
No.
9 down and 1 to go, Miss Day.
Well, do you in any way handle entertainers or have something to do with entertainers? Yes. Would it be something to do with their work? Yes. Would it be, well, you know more about entertainers than I do. Go on, you take it.
All right, Miss Day passes. Mr. Allen.
I'm not even sure I am one. Well, I'll just put into other words what Miss Day seemed to be saying. Are you an agent of some kind? Or...
That's
No.
10 down and no more to go, and hang on to your chairs, panel. Miss Cope is a television director at WEWS, the Scripps Howard CBS affiliate in Cleveland, and Steve Allen, 3 years ago, Miss Cope directed a program having to do with a heart fund that you appeared on. How do you feel now? Oh, Miss Cope, you won the full prize of $50 from Stop It, and our thanks for being our guest and coming to see us from Cleveland.
John, I must say Miss Cope is prettier than our Frank Heller.
Thank you very much. Yeah, but our Frank Heller wears a hat inside all the time. All right, let's see what we can do with another challenger. Will you sign in, please, sir?
Gill. Wood. Worth.
Is that right, sir? What part of the North Pole do you come from? Where are you from, Mr. Woodward?
Daytona Beach, Florida.
That would account for that wonderful tan. Honey, too. Well, Mr. Woodworth, at this point, we always ask our friends who come to visit us to go down and meet the panel. So would you take a walk down in front of the panel for me, please?
Do you think I could see your shoes?
Shoes?
I want to see if he's the practical type. No, he's not. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Woodworth, will you come over here now, please, and sit down next to me and bring your shoes with you, will you? At this point, as I think you probably know, the panel always gets one free wild guess as to what your line may be, and we always begin the wild guesses with Miss Laraine Day tonight.
Well, I think he's an adventurer.
Mr. Allen.
I think Mr. Woodworth is a lumberman. I think he decides how much wood is worth.
Miss Kelly.
I think he's a sausage skin filler.
Mr. Cerf.
I think he's a deep-sea fisherman.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our viewers at home have a closer look at Mr. Woodworth, and at the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. All right, Mr. Woodworth, I think the rules are familiar. No answer, $5, 10 no's, you won the game. We rack everything up right here. So off we'll go. Mr. Woodworth is self-employed. Let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Is there a service of any kind connected with your work, sir?
Yes.
Do you perform these services for both sexes?
No.
Just a moment. We'll have a small We've had a committee meeting here, and we've agreed, Mr. Allen, that you can go on, that actually the service is performed in a substantial sense for both sexes. Not Father of the Year, you know, I covered my teeth.
Is there any degree of skill required for your work? In other words, would I, as an amateur, be clumsy at it?
Would you be clumsy at it? Rather, yes.
Is there anything instructive or entertaining about what you do?
Yes.
Why did I put 2 words in there? Do you perform these services, since you perform them for both sexes, do you perform them perhaps before any group of people that might be roughly described as an audience?
Yes.
You look like an outdoor man to me. You have a deep tan. But we can get back to that a little bit later. I'm trying to find out if you're alone at all. Do you have a partner?
Yes.
He must be very unhappy, whoever he is, hearing these people laughing. Is what you do, would you say, perhaps more strenuous than ballroom dancing?
Yes.
Am I correct in guessing that you both wear something other than street clothes? That
You wear something other than street clothes when you're performing the services, you and your partner?
Yes.
Say, Steve, I have a...
No conference has been called, Mr. Cerf. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
This, I gather, then, would not be something that I might try with a date on the floor of the El Morocco. Is that correct?
Yes, this is not something that you would try, no.
Do you do this with anything on your feet, like roller skates or ice skates or skis or anything of that sort?
No.
That makes it 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kelly.
Well, Mr. Woodworth, sir, does your brawn, your physical condition, enter into your job at all? You
Yes.
use it? It's part of it. It's a necessary part of it. Now, this must be asked, and I'm afraid I'm the sucker here. Is your partner human?
Yes.
Whoa!
No.
That's a no answer. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Woodworth, I take it that you do some kind of wrestling with some kind of an animal or fish. Is that correct? Or an alligator or a kangaroo or something of that sort?
Yes.
Oh, now, which is it?
Has to be a kangaroo in Florida, you know?
Does this animal that you deal with ever go into the water?
Yes.
Is something made of its skin sometime? Leather bags or something? Is it some kind of the alligator family? Some member of the alligator family?
Yes.
You wrestle with alligators?
That's right. I must say that Mr. Woodworth has paid the nicest compliment to his alligator I've ever heard. He's so fond of him, he thinks he's almost human. Well, Mr. Woodworth, I'm afraid they gave you a pretty rough time. The prize is not as large as I would like to see it, but I hope you had enough fun so that you feel that it was good to have a visit with us, because we like having you with us. And now, in just a moment, we'll introduce our mystery guest, but first, here's a word of an interesting new product. We come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends in the panel would recognize our guest on sight, so as usual, we provided them with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? in the case of our mystery celebrity, we dispense with all the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Laraine Day.
Well, are you a man?
That means yes.
Oh. Well, are you in the entertainment business?
That still means yes.
Well, are you under 50?
That still mean yes?
Does it?
Yep.
Are you a leading man?
That one means no. That's 1,009 to go. Mr. Allen.
I was going to ask where you were leading. I don't know what. You were in the entertainment world, and you are not a leading man. Do people ever laugh at you?
Is that yes?
Is that a yes?
Yes, that's a yes. I would say a qualified yes. You go on, Mr. Allen.
I'd like to hear his no again. Do you do something else besides act? That's a yes. Huh?
That's a yes, yes. Please, we don't want any seals in tonight.
Well, that was just thanks a lot. Might I have seen one of your... Are you in motion pictures? I think I might be assuming something.
Are you in motion pictures? Our guest has made movies, yes, been in movies.
Have you ever been heard on the radio? Are you in television?
Well, our guest has been in television, yes.
Have you ever worked in the legitimate theater?
That's no. 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kelly.
I think he's a Morse code. Mr. Celebrity, do you have a regular radio series now? Thank you, sir.
7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
You should.
Have you ever done any form of activity that brought you fame outside of movies and radio and television? That means yes.
That means yes, yes. The double is yes. The single is no.
Would that activity by any chance be in the world of sports? Well, judging by this feeble answer, I bet this is a great big husky character. Have you by any chance ever been a prize fighter?
That's 4 down and 6 to go. Miss Day.
Since you have been in sports, is that primarily what you're famous for? Are you famous for one special sport? Is it baseball?
Yeah, you got a double.
Oh, it's still yes.
Still yes. Mm-hmm.
Is it National League? Is that yes or no?
That was a double.
Oh,
That's
Very
yes.
hard to tell.
the National League.
I wonder if it's married.
Should I know you? To speak to. I mean, if I met you on the street, would I speak to you? That would mean you aren't working for Brooklyn.
Yes, you would know our guest if you were to see him, I'm quite sure, Miss Day.
Are you an outfielder?
That's 5 down and 5 to go. Now I'm going to ask our guest to say a word when he answers. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Are you, do you play for the Giants? Yep. Well, howdy, pal. Are you an official of any kind?
He's back again. That's yes, Steve.
Well, I'm just going to take a blind guess here, because that's that's the way it is. Are you Leo Durocher?
Yes!
That's a dirty trick.
Now,
He's going to meet me outside and pick me up.
Well, now I think you will all understand why we restricted Leo to We were afraid that Laraine would get it too quickly. Leo, thanks so much for coming and helping us play a big joke on Laraine. It was nice to see you. All right, panel, time's flying by, so let's see what you can do with another challenger. Will you sign in, please, sir? Alvin Hauser. Is that right, sir? First of all, will you tell us where you're from?
Bayside, Long Island.
Bayside, Long Island. Well, will you go down panel side and let them get a look at you, please?
Hello?
All right, Mr. Hauser. Now, if you'll come back here and sit down next to me, I think at this point, as you probably know, it's time for a few wild guesses. We begin the wild guesses with Miss Laraine Day.
Well, I think he's a prognosticator.
Mr. Allen.
Watch your language. I think he designs haircuts for Gary Moore.
Miss Kelly.
Successfully, too. I think he's a sagger maker's bottom knocker.
I beg your pardon, Miss Kelly.
I can say it, I asked.
A saddle maker's bottom knocker.
Sagger maker's bottom knocker.
That's grand. What is that?
I'll tell you after the show.
All right, Mr. Cerf.
Sounds terrible. I think he auctions diamonds.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Hauser. At the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. And I think the panel will have to dig hard. You know the rules, Mr. Hauser. $5 no, 10 no's, you won the game. We keep the record up here, and you have less than 3 minutes, panel. Mr. Hauser is self-employed. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Miss Kelly.
Self-employed. Good evening, Mr. Hauser. Is there a product connected with your job in any way?
Yes.
Is it sold in shops, this product?
Yes.
Do men and women both buy it?
Yes.
Is it a useful object?
Yes.
Can it be found in the home?
Yes.
Good. Is it found in one particular room in the house?
No.
No,
Thank you.
not necessarily. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Hauser, might this object be found in the kitchen?
Yes.
It might be, yes.
Just might be. Is it ever carried on the person?
Yes.
Would it be put in the could a man put it in his pocket?
Yes.
He
Would
could.
he-
No.
Would he be likely to put it in his pocket?
No.
Actually, I'm not an expert on this.
I guess, yeah.
He might. Yeah, you go ahead, Mr. Cerf.
Might this object ever be put inside the mouth? Could it be taken internally?
No. 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Day.
Is this object metal?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
Is it in any sense worn? Yes.
Yes, it can be. There's a stage at which it might be worn.
This stage, perhaps? I guess not. Is cloth any part of its makeup?
Cloth, any part of its makeup.
Is makeup any part of its cloth?
Makeup, any... I think we'll give you a no on that. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kelly. 1 minute to go.
Have I got one?
You got one? We don't know, but it is
But I-
not impossible that you do have this product.
It's all right if it shows.
Oh, yes.
It's supposed to show. It is then in some way decorative or can be decorative
Yes.
Can be.
and also useful. Can children have them?
Yes.
They like having them?
Yes.
Not in any sense of the word edible?
That has been determined. It is not,
No.
cannot be
It-
taken internally.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, I think I'm going to have to ring down the curtain because time has run out. This is going to hurt you, panel. You get the full price, sir, by default because we've run out of time. And Mr. Hauser teaches knitting, so the product was wool. You want to take it internally anytime? I don't think so. Mr. Hauser, you win the full prize of $50. I'll thank you very much. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of the guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. Next week at this same time, our panel of experts, excuse me, will be asked what's my line by this young lady. You, meanwhile, can play the game of trying to guess what her occupation is. If you think you could spot her line. Well, for answers to a lot of interesting and we trust amusing questions next Sunday evening, be sure to be back with us at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time when once again, Stop It invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and time of our weekly series. And don't forget What's My Line on Wednesday nights on CBS Radio. Till we see you again, this is John Daly saying good night, Miss Laraine.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, Barbara.
Good night. Good night, Bennett.
Well, how nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
And poof, there goes Papa Daly.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line.
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.